Eric Buell. Eric, welcome to Pass the Hat. And I think we might have warned you that we like to just jump in and have you play a song. So whatever you'd like to play, we'd love to hear.
All right. I'll do an Appalachia song.
Sweet.
Hard to say which one's more cruel, that cold black scene down Quinamon Mine, or the way the company treats we poor fools, whose work ever keeps us from sunshine. Gondolas rail down to us in blackness, sweat stained, reload at the brake line. When they rise to the light, we're left behind, the last man standing of our dying kind. Mary sings her song, we work on and on, cage from wing. What does she dream of? Grandpa passed in the fires of red ash, and Pa worked until he couldn't walk. But here I stay and bitch while the rocks break my back. But one day I'll do more than talk. Canary sings her song, we work on and on, cage from wing. What does she dream of? One fine day, I'll leave this blackness, cross those Appalachians blocking out the sky, cash my pay and walk through rhododendrons and see the islands, the oceans, before I die. Canary sings her song, we work on and on, cage from wing. I know what she dreams of. Canary, come with me when one day I'll run, flying free o'er the mountains. The golden islands will be gone, will be gone.
All right. Eric Buell live in the studio. Nice song.
Thanks.
So, everybody, many of you know Eric for his storied motorcycle career, and we'll touch on that a little bit later in the show, here and there. But, Eric, tell us about your musical background. Like, growing up back north of Pittsburgh, was there much music in your household?
Yeah, I mean, my family was, my dad had played trumpet, and they loved music, and so we had a lot of anything from, Ella Fitzgerald, and we had a lot of the big band stuff. And then we used to drive up, we listened to country stations. So I remember riding on the back shelf of a car. You remember those, lying on your back of that where the speaker was as a little kid, and listening to Hank Williams. And remember Ghost Riders in the Sky was the scariest thing. I kept sitting there in the window looking up and going, where are they? They're going to come. Then my older sister would go, yes, they're coming for you tonight.
They're coming for you specifically.
And was guitar your first instrument?
Bass.
Oh, bass.
Yeah.
Like acoustic bass? Like big stand-up?
No, I started playing
electric bass. No kidding.
Electric bass when I was 14,
And so
I played trumpet before that, but
I know that.
Well, you got Kim Lane's interest.
Kim's glad that
we'll
you
let him stay.
Left that back in Pittsburgh. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about your songwriting background and a lot about your songwriting process, but we're here mainly to listen to your fine music. So what do you have for us next?
Well, let me do a little country song. This one's got like some Bakersfield in it. I love listening to like.
We'll allow that.
All right, that'll work. You should start out with a violin fiddle going. Yeah, but I'll do my best.
We can imagine.
Each and every morning, try to fall back asleep, 'cause you're not beside me, not where you should be. And maybe I can find a dream where we're still together. That's the only place you'll be. Awake, you're gone forever. Each and every day goes by in sadness. I try to hold my head high and not sink into madness. If I work hard enough, maybe I'll spend an hour where your memory won't be filling me with sorrow. You're gone, it's true. Still I think of you. Whether awake or asleep, I'm getting too deep. I think of you in each and every way. Each and every evening, I'm in our old bar alone, watching the door swing, hoping to see you again. And maybe one more drink, and I'll feel alright. But each evening ends without you, each and every night. You're gone, it's true. Still I think of you. Whether awake or asleep, I'm in too deep. I think of you in each and every way. Each and every night, I'm in our old bed alone, watching the minutes tick by for another day to end. Maybe tomorrow will come and it'll be alright. But each evening ends without you, each and every night. Yeah, each evening ends without you, each and every night. I don't wanna be without you, each and every night.
I can hear a little bit of Buck Owens in there.
Until he threw in that fancy, whatever it was, jazz chord at the end. Very cool.
And you are listening to Eric Buell live here on Pass the Hat. If you are only listening, know that you can jump over and watch as well on the live stream. You can catch us at WHUP Pass the Hat. That's at WHUP Pass the Hat on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Well, Eric, we're excited to hear that your latest release, Ride Free, actually came out in all its glory. You've been feeding out little teasers, but this week, and so great timing here on the show. And so that song you just played, is that on that record? Or
Yes,
one
it
of the,
is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And tell us, where did you record this?
I recorded it down in Nashville. I have a good friend who's a studio and touring drummer, a guy named David Northrup. He's out on tour, I think, with Joe Nichols now. But he's been a buddy of mine for years, and I'd send him some songs. He goes, "You got to come down here and record." And I went on, and he'd come in a real studio, and I'm like, "Oh God, I don't have the money for that." He goes, come on, you're a buddy of mine. So he calls me up and he goes, I got a day in the studio, come down. So I talked to my wife and I go, "What are we gonna get done today? I don't care. It'll be cool to go down and we'll hear some music and all that stuff." And he brought in some friends, and we did 10 songs in a day.
Those
in Carb Studio.
Wow.
those Nashville guys, they work fast.
Yeah.
Oh my-
I mean,
oh my gosh.
I've seen them at work, and it's really something.
They were awesome, wonderful kid. It was the best music experience of my life with those guys.
And so, where do people listen to these new songs?
Well, they're out now on all the streaming services, on everything, whatever.
Excellent.
There's so many of them, Spotify and Apple and all those things.
But they
and
can also buy CDs, right?
And I just got a batch of CDs, too, so you can,
Go out to ericbuellmusic.net or .com. Both of those work.
Yep.
And they can find ways to give you money for your music, which is what we're all about.
I'll be doing that soon.
And
I
it's
don't have them up yet, but I will.
E-R-I-K,
Okay.
not C. So E-R-I-K, Buell.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you, because that would be,
Well,
be strange.
You had a record come out last year, Dust Settles, and so you are prolific, it seems. So we're going to talk about why you're cranking out the songs like you are here in a minute. But before we go down that road or into those weeds, let's have one more song, if you please.
Okay. Let me see which one I should play. Okay, I'll do this one.
Yeah, we're going to make you work tonight, Eric.
All right, I like it. You're looking kind of lonely, like you don't know where to turn, like you're needing a true lover, not another one-night burn. How is it that a girl so beautiful ain't dancing with someone? Now don't walk away, I could be just asking for a friend. Maybe you need something more, real shelter from the storm. Your friends are all rowdy drunk, and they're looking more than worn. You're thinking to yourself, I know how this will end. What's the risk, girl, if I'm asking for a friend? My friend, he's a stand-up kind of guy. Some girls say he's easy on the eye, but he's just sick of the posing and the lies. Can you see yourself loving someone till the end of time? If so, let's go talk a while, grab another wine. 'Cause I'd love to see you laughing, so let's something to begin. And if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't work out, I'll act tough and I'll say I was asking for a friend, just asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend.
It's good you put that stinger at the end, or we'd be sitting here for 10 minutes waiting for that Martin to quit ringing out.
It's got a great sound.
And tell us again, Erica, what kind of Martin is that?
It's a 0018.
Very
that
nice.
I've had for a while that I love. If
Awesome.
I do acoustic, I play electric mostly, but this is nice if you're doing acoustic.
Well, we talked about you back when you were a teenager playing electric bass, and those guys get to be very popular, Bob and Kim, because any band out there, they're dying for a bass player. So did you get the opportunity to play with others?
I played a lot. I started after I played through high school, and then when I started college, I dropped out immediately to play, and I was in a bunch of bands, and even went up to Wisconsin. I was in bands that were kind of around that area, doing pretty well, but it just made me crazy after a while. And of course, I had a day job to help pay it off, which was in a motorcycle shop, just fixing bikes, because I grew up on a farm, so I was pretty good as a mechanic. And then
Natural mechanic being a farmer.
yeah. And you just go one day, I'm like, I can't take this anymore. There were a lot of drugs with some of the other
No.
people and that kind of stuff. And I mean, the nasty drugs was the stuff that was getting to me. I was playing some guys who were into heroin and,
Yeah,
and
getting
that
carried
kind of
away.
stuff. And it's like, this is getting scary.
Yeah.
And I knew some just really nice people in motorcycles. And then I started goofing around riding dirt bikes at racetracks, and I said, I'm done. And then I started back to engineering school, and that's when I had another career.
It's
Wow.
interesting. The musicians are the scary people, so I'm going to go hang out with bikers instead.
Well,
Isn't that fun?
I mean, let's just sit with that for a minute. Yeah.
let's open that door now that you did. Open it a little wider, and so you're there messing around in a motorcycle shop and things, but this took off on you. So and you became quite well known and building, world level bikes and all of that. So how did that happen for you?
That's a wild story, isn't it? I was a sport bike, so I raced and I got actually quite good at it. And raced at Daytona, was the fastest rookie in '78 on the 200-mile event.
And what?
But
If I interrupt you, what bike were you racing?
I was
there?
racing. Well, I raced a Ducati and Superbike, and I raced a Yamaha TZ750 in Formula One, which was a premium class that the 200
Wow.
miler used to be. And so I had worked my way up there, but at the same time I was getting my engineering degree. And so when I left, and I had a bunch of engineering job offers, of course, at that time. There were mechanical engineers were in demand, and places in Florida and California, and I wound up going to Wisconsin for the lowest paying job because I wanted to be an engineer on motorcycles. I did not like Harleys. That was my style of bike. I was a sport bike racing kind of guy. But I was there for 3.5 years and actually had a great career and got to know a lot of people. And then I was still young enough and crazy enough to break away and start my own business, which was Buell, which I ran for 10 years, and then Harley bought it and it became a division.
So do you just start with spare parts and put together your first bike, or what happens? Or did you have a design? You're an engineer, so you had a whole design that you worked up?
Yeah, so I did a design and built the first handful of bikes, 50 bikes or something, and then another 100, and then whatever, and then when Harley bought, we redesigned them again. So over the period of time I was with them, we designed a lot of really cool bikes. And then Buell ended, and we had a little company for a while called EBR, so we built some other American pure super bikes then, because under Harley there was a lot of corporate mismanagement of a lot of things. That's the way it goes.
That's the way big corporations do everything.
It happens with big companies, all of them, So anyhow, I wound up doing all the things that
Why are you
I
looking
like
at
to
me?
do.
Because you're the motorcycle guy.
Yeah.
So Bob, you've ridden one of some of these.
Yes. I used to regularly go down to Bike Week in Daytona Beach. Not necessarily because I was a big Harley Davidson fan, but I was a big fan of partying, and, which is a thing
I can't take these guys anywhere.
things that might happen down there if you're in search of that sort of activity.
Yeah, you
Which
might
Bob
find a
is.
But I had friends who were in motorcycle clubs, and Buells were around, and so I got to ride a few of them, and very enjoyable.
6 surgeries later. No, what? You good? All good?
Had they invented helmets at that time, or is
Well,
that?
I've been on and off a motorcycle enthusiast since I was 15 or 16, and always wore a helmet because I have a mother.
Oh,
You're wearing a helmet right now, and we really appreciate it, Bob.
Right.
Keeping yourself safe.
well, Eric Buell. Everybody is here in the studio. EricBuellMusic.net or .com. And his new release, Ride Free, is just out now. So go out there and listen to that and hear the wonderful production that happened. So, Eric, real quickly, when you got in the studio with your friend, was your friend the producer, or?
Yeah, he played drums and was the producer.
And so you sent these songs to him before.
Yeah, I
You
had
got
sent him
down there.
demos. And I think the guys had listened. Of course, the demos were like this. Most of them were acoustic. Some of them I had mixed up on my Pro Tools with electrics.
And so they knew what the chord changes were, and they just sort of laid down a rhythm track, or you did a scratch vocal and stuff first?
No, these are actually. This is live. So what we did, David brought in some incredible players. I mean, we had Dane Bryant, who just came from doing Dolly's album. We had a guy named Steve Mackey, who was a bass player, if you know he is. He's a killer bass player from down there. And then Tim Thompson came in to play some guitar, and his son Miles Thompson. Tim is legendary on acoustic guitar down there. So these people come in, and I'm like, and what we did is, he said, okay, they've heard the basic concept. So what we did was the day before we did Nashville charts, which is just the chords, right? And then he had lyric charts for everybody. And he said, Eric, tell them the story behind they can read the lyrics and tell them the story behind it.
Nice.
And from that's how they played. And a couple of the songs on the album are one take.
Wow.
Live. So they put me in the vocal booth. He said, I know you can play guitar, but you can't do both well enough, and we don't have time for you. So all you're doing is singing.
You be the front man, you do the singing, and we're going to fill in everything else.
And it just was awesome. It was incredible.
So the best band you've ever sung with.
Best band ever sung. By far.
Well, we got a good bit of time before the top of the hour when we need to do some business. So Eric, really enjoying these songs and different types of songs, Kim.
Yes. I want to hear another song because there's one question that is lingering against my forehead, but I want to hear another song first.
Okay. All right. What I'll do is, it's always hard to, once you've done them with the band, you write the original demo, and once you're with the band, it's way cooler, and you're like, how am I going to make it sound like that as best as I can on acoustic? So this is the title song, which I'll talk about too briefly afterward because it's actually kind of related to motorcycles, although you don't hear it in it. So. We came out of the gate like we were on fire, with passion and heat, wild with desire. When love hit it hard as a rodeo ride, thrown in the air, I yelled out higher, higher. 'Cause it's all about fun, that don't hurt anyone, but made damn sure no one hurt me. You get only one chance riding young in the sun, and that riding is best when it's done free. Well, I chased a girl fast as I was able, crossing mesas, down canyons, round poker tables. But when you said be serious and talk a while, I shook my head no and smiled, smiled, smiled. 'Cause I just wanted fun, not to hurt anyone, but I made damn sure no one hurt me. We get only one chance to ride young in the sun, and that riding is best when it's done free. Sun's just rising on your life, it's no time to be wild. Let the heat flow through your veins, jump in the saddle and ride, yeah. One day I'll look back on these times and think of the choices I left behind. But I won't forget, I won't regret the passion and glory when I was young and wild. When it was all about fun, not hurting anyone, but making dang sure no one hurt me. We get only one chance to ride young in the sun, and that riding is best when it's done free. Young's a time to ride free. Love the time when you can be running young, riding free. Running young, riding free. Yeah, yeah,
Well, you answered part one of my question with that song. I'm glad you played that one. In that song, you talk about you saddle up because you get one life. Just ride because that's what you get. And as your story has unfolded and your music has unfolded, it made me really respect you as an artist and a person, because very few people get to do one thing that they want to do with their life. And you've done two major things that you wanted to do with your life that are big and risky and in which most people fail. And you have not just not failed, you have wildly succeeded at both. Do you ever sit with that? And does that really sit with you and like, I did do that? How do you respond to that?
Gosh, I don't even think about. I don't know. You know, I know that I it's kind of weird. I don't think about it too much. What I like doing is making people happy. I don't know why. I probably do know a little bit why, and it's too deep of a story to go into.
Yeah.
You know, and whether it was designing motorcycles or doing something like that, that's the really cool part for me. You know, and I did a whole bunch of that, and it was time for that to end because it's a lot of business and stuff. But the people who bought Buells and stuff, there's clubs all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and they're still fans all the years after it's shut down, and they're fans and they're friends with each other. I'm actually having a big event where some international guys are coming to Wisconsin to near my house to put on an event. They've got 100 people coming, and
That's great.
and they're from England and all these places. But that's what it was. The friendships that they formed with each other and stuff was a tool for that. And for me, music is very emotional. Mm-hmm. And so that is all I'm trying to pour into it, is try to make people feel just the same thing you did with motorcycle. If you can do that, if you can make people smile, or when they're sad, play a song that they go, somebody else feels the same way I do, so I now don't feel alone.
Right.
I mean, it's such a big deal.
Does your music ever intersect with those clubs? Like, do you ever show up at some of these Buell events and they see, oh my gosh, he's playing music now? Does that ever happen?
Well, I'm doing that a few weeks from now when they have this Buell event for these international
That's so
guys.
cool to me.
Are you going to have a band with you?
Nope, I'm going to do it solo.
Excellent.
Because I want to talk to them in between and stuff.
Right.
You know, they come and there's a lot when you put a band. I mean, that's a wonderful show with a band.
Yeah.
But it becomes a little less connected with a group like that. I mean, if you're playing for 1,000 people
Yeah.
or something in bands.
These people are going to lose their minds. Like, they're going
They
to
already
love
have
that.
lost their minds. They're motorcyclists. So
Yeah.
Well, I want to go off on a little tangent because I'm crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Nobody is arguing at this point. So I've been a motorcycle enthusiast for most of my life. I've been a rider for most of my life. And I've, throughout all of these years, had people from all walks of life who are also motorcycle enthusiasts say, hey, Bob, do you want to come out with all of my friends who are going to go riding? Nope. Because to me, getting on the motorcycle and riding is a solo thing. It's me. If I wanted people with me, I'd be in a car. But on the other hand, to me, music, the magic of music is a group event. That one person making music just alone in a room isn't nearly as magical as if there's an audience there listening, or if there's other people joining in, adding harmonies, adding whatever. And to me, motorcycle riding and music are diametrically opposed that way. One of them is me alone, just in my head, and another one is by its very nature a very group activity. But you're doing both of them. Do you feel that different pull, or are both of them really group activities for you?
That's really interesting question, because I'm probably, as a motorcyclist, I'm kind of in your camp. I rode with groups of people when we had Buell because they'd have events, but I prefer to ride alone. But I also then, at the end, like to meet people and talk about it.
At the end, once you're done riding.
Yes.
Yeah, go have the ham and egg breakfast, whatever.
Yeah, and hang out and talk about, the thing. That's what it's at. But when you're riding like a whole bunch of people in a train together, that just feels uncomfortable with me. That's kind of you're a sport bike guy more than a cruiser guy. And cruiser guys like to ride in a group, and it's not for me. But getting together, I mean, if I did it all by myself and never talked to anybody out or never raced with anybody, or never came back to the pits, or that would be awful lonely. So it's kind of cool to talk to people and have friends who ride.
Yeah, so maybe that's where that intersection with music is is that camaraderie before and after the fact.
And there's also another magical thing that's similar for them, which is in both cases is direct. When you're riding fast and you get good at racing, you are going to a zone where time changes. And if you're playing music, and especially with the band, you get into a song, and when you're writing them, you get lost. I mean, I've come and sat and written a song in like 2 hours from scratch, a thing, or might be 8 hours, and my wife comes down and goes, "You have been in there for 8 hours. You didn't eat breakfast. You didn't eat lunch. You didn't anything." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, because you were in the zone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, we are here enjoying our time with Eric Buell tremendously. We are here on Pass the Hat, and we're approaching the top of the hour, so I will share with you that our official thing that we need to say is WHUP-LP Hillsboro. We are here every Friday, and we have been for over 10 years, enjoying the finest in local, regional, and national music, and so glad that you've joined us this evening. Bob, you had mentioned earlier that people can either get on WHUPFM.org and listen every Friday to the audio, or they can actually hear video merged with the audio. Tell us one more time where that is.
At Whoop Ass the Hat, at WHUP Pass the Hat, on all of your favorite streaming services. And your favorite streaming services are Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. YouTube keeps those streams ostensibly forever because they haven't announced an end date.
Yet.
YouTube and Twitch, Facebook and Twitch keep them around for 2 weeks and then they delete them. YouTube, they're there forever. So we have a massive archive out on YouTube. So you can watch and listen to this live on YouTube now. And at your leisure, you can go out to our YouTube channel and you can see a huge archive of local North Carolina, regional, and national touring acts that have come through on Pass the Hat, and you can see their live performances there as well.
And as we enter the second hour of our show, we are so fortunate to have an hour two sponsor, Bob.
Woohoo, that's right. Support for this second hour of Pass the Hat is sweetly provided by Matthews Chocolates, 104 North Churton Street, Hillsboro, North Carolina, the finest in chocolate and chocolate accessories for all of your chocolate needs. And let's face it,
we all have chocolate needs.
Every guest on Pass the Hat gets a gift of chocolate from Matthews. We're never sure what's in the box, but we know that it's chocolate. We know that it's delicious. So we hope that you enjoy it. And y'all, every holiday is a chocolate holiday. Pretty much every day is a chocolate day. So you got graduations coming up. You got end of school year coming up. There's birthdays and such. Get on down to Matthews. Place your order for chocolate. Chocolate prices are going through the roof. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this, but global climate change and other market shocks have been hurting the chocolate market. So chocolate is getting super expensive. Matthew is keeping the prices low and keeping chocolate for you in Hillsboro. Go show him some love.
Kim, end of the school year is bigger than Christmas, bigger than Thanksgiving. It's like the biggest holiday of the year.
I'm ready to dip the children in chocolate and send them home. Love you.
Off the chocolate and send them home.
You look great. Well, we don't have to talk anymore. I am just dying to hear some more music. Can you play us another song?
Sure.
And we are here with Eric Buell, live here in the Pass the Hat studio.
He has I'm just going to say it, he has a Wikipedia page if you're curious like I was. He has one of those.
All right, let me see if I can do this one. This is an interesting one. This will be different. Okay, I'll do this one. Two more drinks, three more lines. I'd trade every night like this for you to be mine. That dream gone, I need something to do, but I'm lonely in a busy room. Two is company, now even three's a crowd. Man, this party's just way too loud. With hungry eyes looking at me for someone to use, while I'm lonely in a busy room. All that's left don't mean much now. I'm just feeling so damn hollow. What the heck can I do to break through? Find something new. 2-timing lovers, 3 sheets to the wind. Can't understand the place they're in. All I wanted was one life with you. Now I'm lonely in a busy room. 2 times as cold on a 3-dog night. Ain't no amount of covers gonna make things right. Got the radio up, phone and TV too, but I'm lonely in a busy room. So damn lonely in a busy room.
Eric, you'd given us a little peek into your songwriting process, saying that sometimes songs come out right away and sometimes they don't. So do you have a set regimen where a certain time every day or just when the spirit strikes you?
Pretty much when the spirit strikes me, but I write a lot. And it's kind of, I keep a book full of ideas. And then some of them come together and 2 things become one, that times. Mm-hmm. And then other times I wake up, like I said, with the whole song. I've had a dream, woken up with this dream, and then turned it into a song and finished it that day. And that was a really crazy one. I mean, the whole thing was in a dream. I imagined this whole scenario. And
so the book of ideas is like a certain phrase or maybe a little story or a feeling or something. And then the music, the chords, you layer those on top of that. Some people do playing guitar first and then they write, and other people backwards. So yours is the words first?
It depends.
Yeah.
I do both. Tends to be a little more words first, but then there's other times that I do a song where I have a riff or something that I go, oh man, that makes me think of, and then the story, comes that goes with it.
And once you, final question, once you get the first sort of thing roughed out, and when it's not perfect right out of the gate, what sort of things happen in that revision process?
Oh, boy, it takes a lot of, sometimes, you just have stuff and you sit there and you go, that's just not working. And usually I walk away from them then and then come back later and then, try to figure out what'll make them work. And, finding a bridge or something like that, sometimes makes a difference. You have the song sitting along, and all of a sudden you're like, man, it's missing something, and then you can put that in. It's an interesting process. It's very cool and very intriguing. A lot of the times it is, I think, a pipeline that comes to you. The muse just comes and grabs you. It's weird.
I'm sure it feels magical sometimes.
Yes, it does. I mean, really.
Do you have a community of kind of similar-minded songwriters where you can kind of bounce ideas off of, or come in and say, "Hey, I've got this song and it needs a bridge"? in anything like that, like a songwriter circles, etc.
I've had a few. There's a thing called the Nashville Songwriters Group or something, and I've done a few meetings with, and they have branches in different cities
all over the place.
So I've done that, and but I've listened to people's songs and I've gotten some critiques on mine, but I've never really gotten into it as a big thing. Really done much with that at all. It's more like listening and learning, but actually to work with somebody would be cool. It'd be fun to go move to Nashville because there's not many people in Wisconsin who are into this kind of music. But I'm not moving there, so that ain't ever going to happen.
That's kind of why I asked. We here in the Piedmont of North Carolina, the music scene. I've lived here all my life, so it just feels natural. But it seems fairly rich throughout this band that runs through North Carolina that largely follows I-85 and I-40. We don't have any really big towns, but it's a really big area of people all together, and it's just full of musicians and a wonderful tight-knit community of musicians who are very collaborative. And so there are songwriter circles all over the place where it's just people gathering around a campfire or gathering around somebody's living room or in officials' places like clubs or libraries or wherever, and people just come and bring their music and they bring ideas, and it's wonderfully collaborative, and people will say, oh, you should try one of these chords, or you should change key here, and then maybe it will change your song a little bit. And I'm not sure that sort of community exists everywhere. So
No, I don't
it's
think
interesting
so.
to hear.
I believe this is a big area for that. I mean, you can see it where the music comes out. There's a couple of areas like that. The other one is the Oklahoma, Texas.
Oh, I
up into
believe
there is
that.
that loop.
Yeah.
That hill country, yeah.
And, I think it relates a lot to, there's a lot of hard work for people in both areas and hard times.
Yeah, well,
Whether
lots of people with nothing else to do.
And so, people may be out of work but they get a lot of emotions. I mean, they're going through hard times. Life isn't easy.
Right.
And it comes out in the songs,
Yeah.
I think that's why I was raised by wolves, my wife said. So I had a pretty crazy young childhood. My life is wonderful now, but my one son who's just a delight. He's out in California. Charlie goes, "You're such a happy guy. How do you write these songs that are dark?" And I go, "Well, it wasn't always happy."
I've had
Yeah.
a life. But life gives you stories, and
Yes, it does.
Stories lead into songs.
Yes, very much so.
I would love to hear another story. Play us another
All
song.
right. Let me think of this one. This will be a kind of a cool one. So I can do this one. I don't claim to be the cure for everything. Won't ever say that I can fix it all. I just want so bad to make you feel warm, and for a moment see you smile. I won't ever be the king of anything, but I'll be a loving friend for you, babe. I will do whatever it takes to bring a little light your way. Grab on, hang on, I can see the pain in your eyes. You've lost the one that you love so true. Feeling cold and afraid inside. Can't believe life could be so cruel. I won't ever say that I'll fix everything, but I promise I'll be something good for you, girl. I just wanna do whatever it takes to bring a little light into your world. Grab onto me for a moment, a small dose of comfort, I guarantee. Feel how much I care about you. When the pain won't go, baby, you can turn to me. I can't make the pain move out the door. It's always gonna be hanging around to stay. Feel my heartbeat when you're hurting. You're not alone anymore. Let my loving heal your hurting. You're not alone in this world. Let my heartbeat calm your breathing. You're not alone anymore. You're not alone in this world.
Eric Buell live here in the studio.
I want to know where people who are listening around the country can hear you play live.
I'm working on that.
At a
gotta
festival in
do-
Wisconsin coming up.
Oh, that's
up in
right.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So I've got that thing coming up, and I've been trying to get a band together, but can't find quite a crew yet. I'm working on it, but so instead I started working on acoustic sets. So I'm going to start trying to do that until I get a band together, and so I'll be posting stuff on my website about that, and I've also got a mailing list you can join on that we can send things out, and
Y'all
I'll do
do
stuff
that?
on my face. There's a lot on my Eric Buell Facebook page. I've got
Okay.
a lot of stuff up there.
Have you connected? I know that Milwaukee is that area is a distance from, but it's not crazy. Have you connected with anyone in Chicago? Like, do you ever play in the Chicago area or at the Old Town School of Folk Music? Because I would think they'd be open to at least connecting and networking.
That's a really good idea. I had not thought about that. I will look into that because I just need some connections to do that. I know when people hear this stuff, they
Yeah.
like it. So
Well,
just
I
get it out
really
there.
think you ought to get in touch with them because we've had a couple of people over the years, and I've lived in Chicago, and that is a really active place of networking, that they have seminars, classes, they have song circles. So if you ever had a yen to go down there and join a song circle, you could. And also, so I'm going to throw this out there too, I would invite you to join the North Carolina Songwriters Co-op, even though you're not here. And I'll tell you why. Because sometimes they do Zoom meetings. They'll do Zoom that's how I really got involved with the community. Is I was convinced by one of my dear friends to leave my house with the guitar, and I was in my mid-40s, right? So this was just unheard of.
You're in your mid-40s?
Yes, Bob, I am. Anyway, I joined the North Carolina Songwriters Co-op, and everything just exploded. They've done everything. They do Zoom meetings. They do personal meetings. They have people touring all over, and you could meet a lot of people
That's
just
a
from
really
all over.
good idea because
Yeah.
a little bit about Nashville's getting so professional.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Oh,
This
we're
might be
not.
the right group. Well, you know what I mean? It's just too many people involved, too many getting in. This is a smaller group, and that's what I'd like to get into because I don't know.
And
it's-
like so many things, it really is about networking and finding like-minded folks who will gather around and help you create something magical.
So if anybody out there wants to learn more, it's ncsongwriters.org,
Yep.
and they'll tell you all the different interesting things they have going on.
And I'll tell you one other place that I wonder about, and that is Madison, Wisconsin, because I do know artists from Madison, and I think that's where the artists go. If there was anything there and you were in proximity, I bet you'd get connected with your artist people.
yeah, I will work on that.
Cool. Because you're worth hearing. I'm really enjoying this.
Well, this is a good show.
Yeah, the stuff that you're singing, the poetry behind it, I'm learning a lot. And I feel like I'm getting a little bit wiser. Can you make me wiser and play us another one?
One more, huh? At least.
One more.
Well, we're going to keep asking for
Do you have more
songs.
time? Oh, cool.
Yep, we're just going to lock the door and keep you here.
It's your show. You can do whatever you want to. we do have your playlist for the last half hour, and I think it goes a little bit more than 30 minutes. So we'll wrap up whenever we feel like and keep going.
Time
Okay.
for at least 2 more, if not 3.
Yep.
Oh, it's interesting. I had spoken to you a little bit before, Bob, about
Yes.
the story of my wife and stuff. So that story,
fantastic story.
that song that I just played was when I came out of seeing her picture. Like
no
I said.
kidding.
Aw.
So when I'd see the pain in your eyes and stuff, because she had
Right.
lost and we got together.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
I kind of wrote that song for her. So I have a number of songs of that. These are off the last year's album, The Dust Settles. But here's one I'll do. This is a song of how we met at her brother's at one of her brother's parties. It was just another party, whiskey, beer, women, wine. Easy come, easy go, same old shallow good times. A quick stop to pick up a girl in a high. But love was waiting with a surprise. Oh, man, I just forgot it. So this is my time.
You're not the first.
There was nothing much that mattered to free range and me. No cares for tomorrow when you've nowhere to be. Then we started talking, everything's changed. Love stepped in and life rearranged. I came for a party and I found love. It was the very last thing I'd been thinking of. I came for a party, found myself falling in love. Yeah, it must have been help from way, way up above. The music and girls were hot and clothes hit the floor. Should have been the wild times I'd been looking for. But nothing except your words and your eyes pulled me in. Forgotten was the fun flow of liquor and sin. You came for a party, but you found love. It was the very last thing that you'd been thinking of. You came for a party, found yourself falling in love. Well, it must have been help from way, way up above. It's so damned amazing that we both were there. The timing right for Cupid, zero flight in the air. Now years have gone by, party friends are long gone, but the party of life with you is still going strong. We came for a party, but we found love. It was the very last thing we'd been thinking of. We came for a party, found ourselves falling in love. Yeah, it must have been help from way, way up above. Yeah, it must have been help from way, way up above.
Came for a party but found love. Ain't that it?
That's the best kind of party. If I remember the story correctly, you left out the part where she threw a beer in your face.
Yeah, that's when I realized I had met the perfect woman that would have used me properly.
But also
Put me
if
in my place is what it was.
If I remember the full arc of this story, this was back when you guys were kids, teenagers, essentially, and after this, you went to the party, fell in love, beer in your face, were together for a while, and then left for whatever, broke up for whatever reasons, and decades later, reconnected,
Yep.
and decades later, and marriages later, and kids, and reconnected, and through some magic are married now.
Yes, and have been for
It's
like
a wonderful arc of a
20-some
story.
years, and I love her so much, and we get along fantastic, and the kids that we had together are great. It's been an amazing life. So she's been a real blessing to me. It's a long story. I told you more of it, but it's pretty cool that I
I
have her.
think
So
it is a fantastic love story, and people need to hear more of these kinds of stories because they're uplifting, and real,
yeah, that's true.
and the sorts of things that people write songs about.
Yes.
So is your inspiration for most of the music you write things that happen in your life?
Actually, yeah, I think a lot of them. I mean, I tend to do that as like I'll hear a phrase or I'll write it down. Like, ooh, that's cool. But then I try to relate it to something,
Sure.
that I've experienced. So that the words go better if you can really connect it to. And I've had a very complex life, and I think that helps me. That's why I have such a diverse kind of songs, because there's those kinds of things.
And we've had many people here in the studio who are kind of in the shifting gears stages of life where they do have a lot of life that they lived, and they have a lot of stories, and that does lend itself to amazing songwriting and great songs that we've had here in the studio. And I know we've ridden you pretty hard.
No, I'm sorry for losing that. That's so funny that I went blanked on that briefly. It's like,
That's no, you didn't. There's something, Kim, this. It's called a Pinter pause. Harold Pinter is a
Yep.
playwright, and these are purposeful for dramatic effect.
Yes.
Yes,
and,
that's actually
and
what I
that's
did.
why you did
Yep.
that.
make sure that people really listen to the song.
That's right.
Pull them in.
You drag them in, exactly. Do you have one more in you?
Sure.
We can
Let's see.
close this out, and y'all have been listening
What-
to Eric Buell live here on Pass the Hat. You can learn more at ericbuell.com, ericbuellmusic.com, and Eric Buell Music on Facebook as well, because there's a lot more activity out there.
Eric
Also-
with a K, Buell.
Yes.
Yes.
Eric with a K, thanks to my Swedish grandmother. So we want upbeat or
It's up to your show. It's up to you.
geez.
Like I always ask the question, where do I want to leave the listeners? What message do I want them to linger and sit with? That's what I always do with a performance. And every day it's different.
Not to put a whole bunch of weight on your shoulders or anything.
Yeah, sorry. So true story. I'm a professional poet. Don't listen to anything I say.
Or listen to everything that she says.
And then
because
analyze it later.
all has meaning, yes.
well, let me try this one then. This is kind of in the middle of happy and sad. Baby, come up with one more lie. Tell me you'll always be mine. Don't even give the truth a try. Just walk away when it's time. Baby, don't give out any sign. Hide that it's your leaving time. Keep that image until you're gone. It goes smoother, not dragged out along. The good in goodness, it ain't in goodbye. You'll never tell the truth of why. So skip the part with the parting kiss. Just act like you'll be back and smile. Don't even bother with goodbye. 'Cause you can't look me in the eye. Baby, don't even try. Some way I'm gonna get by someday. Baby, it's easier just this way. Act like any other day. Keep that image until you're gone. Go smoother, not dragged down long. The good in goodness, it ain't in goodbye. You're never gonna tell the truth of why. So skip the part with the parting kiss. Just act like you'll be back and smile. Don't even bother with goodbye. When the good is such a lie.
Eric Buell live here on Pass the Hat. You have just enjoyed a wonderful hour of intimate time with, well, I'm not going to get carried away, with Eric Buell here live in the studio. Learn more at ericbuellmusic.net. Follow Eric Buell Music on Facebook. And Eric, we are at the part of the show where I look at my computer and try and make it do things, where we shift over to a playlist that you brought in. We shift over from you playing live music to you introing and outroing some recorded music. And the idea is to kind of expose our listeners to what it is you rock out to, what it is that motivates you, what you think people should hear, whatever. So we're going to jump into that. And folks, if y'all are watching the live stream is going to end. The show does not end. So you go over to WHUPFM.org. You can catch the rest of the show, or if you're here in the footprint of Hillsboro, FM 104.7. But at this point, Eric's going to introduce that first song on the playlist, and just before that, he's going to wave goodbye to the live stream. Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone. This was so fun.
And do
love
you
these guys.
remember the first song that you had on the list?
I do not.